I also really, really like that they smoke everywhere. I don't know why, but when I saw them smoking in the bowling alley, it reminded me of my childhood because the bowling alley in my town always smelled like cigarettes. And something about that specific place smelling like cigarettes was awesome to me. It was just like, that's just the vibe, man. I got vibes, man. I just want to smell like cigarettes. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, but if I walk into an old dingy ass bowling alley, it better smell like cigarettes or I'm leaving. I bet it smells nice in there. Smelling nice. Gross. So I just watched The Tender Bar, the new George Clooney directed film that I did not know was directed by George Clooney until the credits, because I don't watch trailers. Before I get into any spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie and you don't care and you want to watch this, it's about a boy who grows up without a father. He's raised by pretty much the rest of his family, his grandparents, his mom, his uncle, I think he has an aunt, and all these people kind of live in and out of the same home, the grandparents' home. People move out, people move in. The small bit I heard about the movie was that it's going to be about this kid who doesn't have a dad growing up and getting father figures within his uncle's bar, and that bar being a big part of what raised him. Which was the case, and here's where I get into spoilers. If you don't want to watch it, there's your little synopsis. Now leave if you want to. So it has the kid when he's young, kind of learning stuff throughout the bar, and there's this whole Yale spin, which I watched the trailer afterwards and saw that it shows that. Like, I feel like that's a spoiler. Like, the scene where he was accepted into Yale, I'm glad I didn't know if it was yes or no. Just watch the trailers like, oh, he's in Yale. Look, I'm going to Yale. I'm so glad I don't watch trailers, but whatever. The first part about, when he's a kid and he's being raised without the father and in this home, I really liked that, really kind of showing where he's coming from, showing a few, like, really big parts of, like, growing up without a dad. The son and dad breakfast thing. He goes with his grandpa. His dad hurting his feelings all the time, like, not showing up and just not being there, and him dealing with that. But then it jumps to, him being a senior and graduating and then getting into Yale. And this is where the movie, I feel like, completely switches its whole plot. Like, it's not really about being raised. Yeah, there's a couple things that'll come in, like, oh, remember when he was raised this way in the bar? Well, now look at him. But really takes this romantic story with him and Sydney and really goes with it. I haven't read the book, and I'm sure a lot of it is about that, but it felt like that was trying to be a big emotional story beat in the story, and it wasn't necessary. I feel like it didn't fit as well as the stuff going on with his family. This is a movie about this kid's family and how he's grown up without a father. It's not even a bad life. It's not like he didn't have a father. This is the worst thing in the world. And I can relate to this. I grew up without a father. My mom raised me. And it showed like little bits of trauma of not having a father really well, where it's like, yeah, it's like, I'm not gonna be a terrible person, but like at the end of the day, it did shape who I am. So that scene where he goes to his father after Yale and he's got the job at the New York Times or whatever. That's the story that I like. I didn't love the romantic stuff. I feel like they were trying to like show like, hey, you're kind of becoming your dad and coming out of it with his drinking and all that stuff. But like the emotional core of this movie was all with the uncle and the mom and the grandparents, and it should have really focused on that. Now, I don't care that the book has, a bunch to do with Sydney, perhaps. It's a memoir. He's going to talk about that stuff that raised him. But this movie feels like it was padding time. I read this review on IMDb just before filming this, and I want to I want to really bring attention to it. I think this might be the weirdest 8 out of 10 review I've ever read. It starts with, if you like the book, you will have problems with the movie. By Bill Brown SF, or Bill Brown's F, I don't know. Starts off with, I haven't seen the movie, but I read the book. The book is brilliant. If you love the book, then you will be irritated by the movie despite its good intentions. The Tender Bar film changes the ethnicity of Sydney, a girl whom the writer fell in love with during his time at Yale. She represents the unattainable ideal for a working class kid from Manhasset, a wealthy, beautiful blonde with whiter than white parents. In the film, she becomes a beautiful woman of color and her parents an interracial couple. This screams wokeism and progressive virtue signaling that has gone berserk. This guy is so mad that they didn't cast somebody that's white, as if that matters to the unattainable ideal for a working class kid. Like this, if the girl was truly gonna be perfect for this guy, she had to be rich and white. You left the rich in there, you left all of that, but she wasn't white. That's a crazy reason to do a review, but I digress. That does not really matter, does it? I really liked the beginning of this movie, seeing Christopher Lloyd, who I had forgot was in it. I think I had saw that before I came in to the theater, but Christopher Lloyd's in it. He plays the grandpa, and his scene where he's farting over and over again wasn't me. Wasn't me. I thought it was funny. Christopher Lloyd farting. I could watch an hour of that. That was great. I really enjoyed the narration style. It reminds me of Stand By Me and lots of other films from this era. I liked that. Speaking of that era, they nailed the 80s vibe, like everything from home decor to the cars to the outfits. The bowling was weird. I've never seen bowling balls that are that size, and the bowling pins were weird as hell. I didn't even know that was a thing back in the day. I always thought bowling pins were always the same shape pretty much. So that was interesting, but they're killing that vibe. It was a really well-made movie, especially in set design and things like that. I loved Ben Affleck in this. He's fantastic when he's in the right role. There's other roles where he doesn't really fit as the actor. I don't know why they went with Ben Affleck. Why did you say that name? But he's trying other things. This is kind of his lane. I really like this. I really liked the comeback that our main character, JR, had against Sydney's father, and he's sitting there kind of just being judged, feeling judged anyway, but he goes, Phil, have you ever fucked in a Volvo? I loved that. I thought that was great. Not sure why he kept wanting to go back to this girl. Sure, he loved a girl and then started drinking, and they could have gone into that direction more, but they really focused on these two relationship. They didn't really connect that to any real part of the story for me. It just seemed like a big side thing that just didn't matter. There's definitely a couple very funny parts in this otherwise pretty heartfelt film. I really liked the part which they show in the trailer here. I really liked the part where he was crying in the rain. It just cuts to that almost as a Family Guy-esque cutaway. I thought that was hilarious. All the acting was great. That kid actor was good. I think this was his first big credit. Mom was good. Ben Affleck was good. Christopher Lloyd was there farting, so that's good. It's directed fine. It's a fine movie. I like it for its originality. It's not just a regurgitated piece of shit from Hollywood. It's trying something new. I'm sure no one will go to it because of that. It's also, I'm sure the book is called The Tender Bar, but that's a terrible name. Makes me not really want to go see the movie, to be honest with you. I did a quick Google search. I'm like, Ben Affleck, sold. But, I mean, it's definitely worthwhile. I don't know if this is like one that's going to bring people to theaters at all, but streaming it, I would say give it a shot. I give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 feels right to me, I guess. It's got vibes. It's got a good story. It's got a couple parts that'll make you laugh, a couple parts that made me tear up a little bit. It never really nailed home any like really big emotional beat at all. Anyway, I give it a 7 out of 10. Really good, simple story to tell. It never really got into what I thought the story was really going to heavily be about, is his uncle's influence and the bar's influence on him. It did a little bit, obviously, but I thought it was just going to be focused on that. And a big detour happened in the movie, which I just didn't enjoy. So that's why I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I would say check it out. It's probably on Amazon Prime. Amazon Studios made the movie. I don't know. Goodbye.